Hey everybody, how we doing out there? Doc Severson and Mav with you here at Ready Set Crypto. What's going on, everybody?
Hello, hello, hello. Another wild and wacky day in crypto land, huh? Where are you guys coming in from? Let's get things started off nice and
What's up? What's up? What's up? We
yeah,
got
there we
Carlisle,
go.
Pennsylvania. Let's see. We got we're the Shot Coin Shillers.
We are the
Outstanding. That's
shot coin.
great.
Yeah.
We have Stockholm, Sweden. Yeah, let's see. Mav, let's see if we can bring your mic up here just a
All right,
little bit.
sorry about that.
Okay, I think I got it on this end. All right, Camp Hill, Pennsylvania, Romania, Malta, Bucharest, Oswego, Illinois, baby, Manch. All right, love me some Manchester, Ottawa, Ghana, Australia, Sydney, London, Denmark, San Antonio, Somerdale, New Jersey, London, UK. Stop. All right. Houston, or as they say in England, Houston. How you guys doing out there? Wild week, right? Wild week, but it's not like we didn't see this one coming. So, all right. So, Mav, do you have something for us? I have a little bit prepared for you guys. It's going to be all chalk talk on charts. When it comes up to it, it's going to be talking about how to set your buy points on this or other ways that you can take advantage of this pullback. So we'll get to that, but I think Mav has some tasty material for you guys.
Alrighty, let's kick things off. So, guys, see my screen? Okay.
Yeah, looking good. You could zoom in though if you can.
Oh, I will. So if you want to follow along with me on this nice little fun spreadsheet we got here, just follow the link in the bio below. It's the one with the little finger next to it. I've posted it over on our brand new service and platform, ReadySet.vision. It's where you can find a lot of our recent and soon to be spreadsheets where we're tracking all these shot coins, as someone in chat said. But yeah, I think there's definitely some market opportunity today, and we'll start things off just running down the list here because yeah, it's already bounced back. Crypto's already coming back, and I think to take advantage of that, and what we should be looking for is quality as well as opportunity. So there's a nice mix of both in here, and it's not just shit coin or shot coins, but there's some substantial ones as well. So let's just quickly go through this because I don't want to take up all of your time today. And I know people got places to be, markets to trade. I get it. But yeah, just going through some of these, what I'm looking for in sort of this next iteration of crypto is kind of the tenets, fundamentals behind DeFi. And specifically, I want to see interoperability. I want to see, being able to leverage and utilize and expand my capital without having to do a whole lot. So that's where stuff like Voyager token comes in. Voyager is a competitor to BlockFi and Celsius and Coinbase and a lot of the major US exchanges. And what makes them different is that they've got more coins than any of the other US exchanges, and they have staking or APY, where just so long as you've got the asset on their mobile wallet, their mobile app interface, you'll be receiving rewards for just basically keeping it on there. And they do other cool stuff like commission-free trades. They just kind of bundle it together and send it off to other exchanges to execute. So there's a lot to like about VGX. It being in the top 50 now, kind of I think is representative of where they're going. I think they've got a lot of room to run and a lot of ability to help you make more without having to do a whole lot. So VGX is definitely a cool one. Definitely be talking about them more in the future. So another one would be AMP, which is, it's really all about getting merchants utilizing crypto. There's a lot more we can say about AMP and the staking rewards you can get for it, but they're also kind of killing it right now. They're doing payment processing. They're doing a lot of the things that we know needs to be, nope, still hear me? All right, cool. a lot of things we know that crypto needs to move in, the direction crypto needs to move in terms of adoption and acceptance, et cetera. It's pretty easy for us to see the use case, the value prop when it comes to stuff like merchants and settlements and things of that sort, because that's just been the original use case for crypto forever. Peer to peer, whether that be you and your buddy or you in a grocery store. So we just want to help make the latter happen, and that's what AMP is doing. Another one that is like super blown up today is Orion Protocol, which we've talked about on these streams a couple times now. But yeah, I really like what I'm seeing with them. They're basically helping to serve as the gateway to crypto and DeFi. And there's a lot of utility in the ORN token. And I don't know, there's a lot more I could say, but one thing I think would really help to cement the value of this one and why you should be paying attention to it is just go to calc.orionprotocol.io and see just how much you would be able to get from the staking rewards. It's pretty significant. So have some fun with that one. Another couple ones that are kind of on my radar as well are ones that are coming to the market, specifically around NFTs, which are super hot right now. So projects like Super Farm here, which just launched on Polka Starter, which we were talking about like 2 weeks ago. I think this is super cool. Just having NFT farms and being able to deploy them without any code, that's that kind of value speaks for itself, and it's still very, very new. So the more we get down in this list, the more speculative things get. But definitely, I think already in its infancy, Super Farm has shown that they have a lot to bring to the table, a lot of cool things to talk about, and one you should definitely be paying attention to. One tip or hack I shared a couple of weeks ago was to use a token sniffer. Just Google search it, or go back and look at some of our recent videos. You can use that to look at some of the trending volume tokens on Uniswap. And so this is how I'm finding a lot of these projects, as well as looking at CoinGecko and what's trending and what's sort of getting hot right now. So stuff like Superfarm, stuff like CyberFi, stuff like Benchmark Protocol. These guys are all blowing up right now in terms of volume on Uniswap, which, as we talked about, is usually predicates a price movement. So if we're finding utility, if we're finding volume, if the token's getting transacted on Uniswap, that's a pretty good indicator that we'll see price move in a positive direction. So CyberFi is another one that's pretty cool. It's doing stuff similar to Frontier, which we recently talked about, as well as what we just talked about with Orion Protocol as well. So basically just helping to make the whole process easier, being an aggregator of DeFi, of the different kinds of services we need in this space, basically just making it more accessible for people, because DeFi can be confusing, can be hard to use, etc. So let me zoom in here just so you guys can see a little bit better. What else I would like to bring your attention to would be definitely Benchmark Protocol. They're doing some really cool stuff. They've built an SDR, which is it's basically a basket of assets, basically taking all the major world currencies out there, be that the USD, yen, the euro, etc., and using that to kind of balance this pseudo stablecoin that is going to be backed up by the collateral of the token, kind of in the way that Maker and Dai works, but instead of just being a decentralized sort of multi-collateral source, this is instead drawing upon the world currencies out there. And I think that will help it sustain value, because we don't expect those major economies to go under anytime soon. Hopefully not. So let's see, what else? Polka Markets is another one. They're trying to be basically Augur, a decentralized betting platform on the Polkadot network. And I think that's really cool. They're doing some really interesting things and just ways that they're trying to expand upon the ability to, bet on almost any circumstance, so long as there is a binary conclusion of yes or no, did that thing happen or not? Did Trump get elected or not? Did Trump get assassinated or not? Like these crazy possibilities in terms of, taking world events, possibilities of things like that, and turning them into a smart contract and saying, okay, if yes, then these people win. If no, then these people win. So it's just it's a new kind of gambling that is, yeah, I don't know. Hopefully, we're not doing too many assassination smart contracts. We want to see the more positive type stuff out there, but it's all a possibility, and that's the potential of a decentralized marketplace like that. Another one that is kind of interesting right now, and I have to put a big disclaimer about scam warning or possible scam warning, is that it's Big One, which is a new exchange, and they're trying to be community run. So it's a decentralized exchange that is owned by the community. Interesting in concept, but very possible that there could be an exit scam. There's a lot of rug pull potential with this one. So I want to make sure that caveat's in place. But that being said, it is a very interesting concept. I like what they're kind of doing here, and the way that the founders have kind of distanced themselves and to say, yeah, this is owned by the community. Some interesting ideas. We'll see if it actually comes to fruition, but definitely doing something new. And I like seeing that. Let's see what else. Soda is another one that's dealing with NFTs. And it's more so than a lot of the other projects out there, which I think has been the major issue thus far with NFTs, is just having the ability to work with them, making it easier, making them transferable, etc. So Soda is just kind of expanding upon that, trying to refine that process, and using stuff like the Soda token as a governance model for voting and things of that sort. So it's just an iteration upon what NFTs are and sort of the promise they have. I'm really liking what's going on with the NFT space right now. I think there's a lot of hot projects and ideas and opportunities there. So we'll quickly start to see NFT trading and NFT like markets and things of that sort that are operating in the same way that we're seeing, the DeFi space, sort of how it's evolved and how it's kind of built in all these different levers and ways for you to make money in multiple different ways. So that's quickly. Oh, I missed one of my favorite ones on here, Goose Finance. This one's awesome. I really, really like what they're doing. I think it's kind of fun. They're sort of in the same, nice blend of both professional, very interesting project with, sort of the cheeky, fun stuff we've come to expect from like Pancake Swap and Sushi Swap and things like that. So Goose is more about yield farming and liquidity. And it's, I don't know, there's a lot I like about this one. So definitely, if nothing else, check this one out. I think this is one of the most fun, cool projects I've seen in a while. And yeah, I think there's a lot of potential with this one. It's definitely getting noticed, and it's definitely starting to move in some very exciting directions. So definitely check out Goose, see what it's like to stake using their egg token. Yeah, definitely one to watch. And then, yeah, another one I missed was the Woo Trade Network, which is basically it's automated market making. And, there's some other cool, very buzzwordy aspects about this one, but it's got some, high powered guys behind it. It's doing some interesting things. So yeah, liquidity spreads, there's a trader focus with this one, which we definitely like to see. We definitely like to see an expansion just on that side of things to help people, especially traders, make the DeFi space and sort of the way that the crypto is evolving, make it more accessible, make it more profitable. So yeah, that's a very quickly my list here. But as I mentioned, there is a lot more to see when you actually dig into the spreadsheet, which again is linked down below. Definitely some opportunities out there. Guys, I think the last 24 hours have been just absolutely insane in terms of what we've seen going up and down. But overall, I think the space is, hasn't really lost much of its luster. I think this is still very much an altcoin market. I think this is still very much an opportunity to find some of these projects that, maybe are inside the top 100 or outside the top 100. We're looking for opportunity wherever it may be. So, those sorts of projects, I think, that can start to move towards the top 10, or those sorts of projects that, are very small right now, but have the potential to eventually be a top 100 coin or even a top 10 coin. That's what we're looking for. It's not all about just, let's find the next, just speculative venture that we can just dive into and then see if it pumps and dumps. we want to find value. We want to find opportunity and longevity in the space. So we're looking for different directions things are going in. So it's not just about finding the moonshots, but really paying attention to what the moonshots are about and using that to chart a course as to where you should be paying attention to, what you should be, the different sectors and different opportunities you should be, keeping your eyeball on, because this space moves fast. And already this year has been quite eventful. So anyways, let's kind of take a break there. Hopefully that was a nice little intro to some of the stuff we're watching. And hopefully by the end of today's stream, we'll take some questions and I'll talk about some projects. But we're probably going to keep this one a little bit more short than the last couple ones we've done. So guys, what we got?
Okay, let's make sure I don't blow out the audio here, because I was experimenting with your audio, and I think we got you at a good level now.
All right, cool.
Super. Okay, I've got maybe 5 or 10 minutes that I want to show you guys a couple of things. We're gonna, bring out the technical tools here and get charting for a second. So bear with me for a minute if you're not a chartist, and I'm gonna cover you up there, Mav, and we're gonna go out to this chart here. This is Bitcoin versus the US dollar. And one of the things that we had talked about, we started doing this live series recently just because, hey, how do you get into the One Bitcoin Club? And the way that you do this is we're going to accumulate on value. Now there's a bunch of different ways you can do this. You can dollar cost average, which is just, basically at a certain set time, you're going to buy whenever you're going to buy. But if you can, man, it's such a huge advantage if you can buy on the dip. So what is a dip? Well, there's 3 ways that I want to show you guys that you can buy in the dip. One is fib retracements, Fibonacci retracements. Okay, so I'm going to go over here on the left-hand side. This is Trading View. And the third one down is Gann and Fibonacci tools. And I'm going to move down to fib retracement. And what I'm going to do is go back, and this is not fair, right? This is looking in the rear view mirror, which is cheating. But what I'm going to do is show you how we use this one back here. And what I'm doing is I'm drawing the fibs from 0 up to 100 here. 0 up to 100. These are projections going forward. Now, what we're going to look at is 3 particular fibs in the series here. So one of them is a 38.2, so 38.2% retracement. This is the first of the major fibs. The second one, which is not technically a fib, which is 50%, and then 61.8 is kind of the last line of defense for the bulls. So typically when we see a large sweeping swing like this, we're going to have retracements down to one of these 3 fibs or levels. And so the most aggressive one is obviously looking for an entry at the 38.2. This one did get hit. The best value one was actually 50% in this case. So let's go ahead and do the same thing to the current swing that we're at. I'm going to go ahead and take this out, remove this guy, and let's go ahead and draw it again. So again, the first way to do this is with fib retracements, and then I'll show you an example here in a second on how you can set these up good till cancel. So quite often these are going to fill at some point during the night, or when you're least watching this thing, you're going to get some kind of crazy spike, right? This is the way it always works. So on this swing, and it's pretty obvious that this is the end of the swing after the last couple of days, because we've had the price come down to 38.2 and almost 50% as well too. Okay, so that's the first tool, is fib retracements. Now I'm going to keep this up here because there is a concept that I want to, and this is going to take me too long to spell this out, but it's called confluence. Confluence. And I'll just spell the beginning of the word here, confluence, like this. And this is where we have more than one signal happening at a time. Now, if I were to go out to the weekly chart, what we would see is, one big swing here, but it's quite obvious that we have this initial big swing up, pull back to here, and then the next swing back up again. Now there's a concept called swing test. A swing test is where the price will come back down and retest this area. Now there's no guarantee it's going to happen, but generally is a very strong technical signal when the price comes down to this level. So think of it this way. Former resistance to the upside becomes new support when it breaks through. It's almost like the floor of a house, right? If you're knocking on the ceiling and if you jump so hard that you fall, that you just blow right through the ceiling, you're going to find support at the floor. So former resistance becomes new support. That level is 42,000. So let's play the confluence game here. What does that mean? This is when we're looking for signals that line up with each other. We're looking for signals that line up for each other. So in this case, the confluence here, 42,000, that's the swing test. And we have the area between the 50% and 61.8% retracement. So in this case, what I'm going to say is we have an area of confluence, which is around in this area. If we pierce through, if we see Bitcoin versus the US dollar pierce through 44,000 on the way to 42,000, what I want to do is find a way to get a limit order in this area. That represents massive value instead of aping in like everybody else does at 56,000. Oh my God, it's running away. I've got to jump on board. Never ape in. Always play the pro game here. Let the trade come down to you. Now, there is a risk that the price could come down here and not to your limit order and take off again. That's always a risk, and that's something that you got to play that risk, because over time, if you got the right entries, it'll work out in your favor. Now, the third one that I want to talk to you about, the third tool here is called volume profile. So if we got volume profile, and actually have a tool out here called volume profile, and I think it does take a certain level of trading view to get this. But basically what you're looking for is you're looking for a volume that's happening at a certain price level. Volume profile. You can see in this case, these are the volume profile histograms here. And a hell of a lot of trading occurred right in this area. So that represents a massive amount of supports. What you will find is that candles like this, these one-day wonders that blow up like this, or like this one here, offer no support or resistance. They do not create support or resistance. So they tend to form this almost like a vacuum. The price generally jumps up on the way through there and jumps right back down through that level. So what we have here are levels of support and resistance. And so what we do have is a confluence, though, between the 38.2 retracement at about 47.2, as well as the high volume node here, which is right around 47,000. So we have confluence at about 47,000. So that's one potential entry. We also have potential confluence down here at this level. This is a much more conservative entry, much more valuable entry if you can get in somewhere between 42 to 43,000. Okay, so those are the three tools. Number one, fib retracements. Look for the 38.2, 50%, and 61.8. The further down, the more conservative you are, the more value that you're getting. Second, look for confluence with other things such as swing tests in this case, which is at 42,000, and or volume profile. And if you put all three of these on your chart, none of these, if you'll notice, are trailing indicators. These are all immediate price indicators. This is not some 14 sample MACD, which is going to give you some kind of delayed signal. These are actual price levels, and this is the way that you should be trading, is off of price levels, because price will never lie to you like indicators will. All right, so those are three things you can do. Now, what I want to do is to bring up the next chart here, and this is just pro Coinbase. This is just a pro version of Coinbase. And if I can get this guy to load here and be happy. There we go. All right, so how do you take advantage of this? If you wanted to enter down at 42,000, how do you do something like that? Come on, Coinbase, don't let me down. Hey, we have a history of crashing Coinbase every time that we do one of these things. So I've got my fingers crossed. Okay, so if I did something like this, if I got $500 that I need to enter on the next tranche, so to say, of Bitcoin. So I want to put 500 bucks in the next time the Bitcoin pulls back. How do I do something like that? First thing you want to do is you never want to use a market order. That will get you in right now. Never want to do that. So what we're going to do is we're going to select a limit for this. Now, if I do something like, if I want to enter at 42,000, like this, how many Bitcoin is that? Well, what I'm going to do is, let's say we put the whole thing into there. So what this is going to come out to is, this is 0.01. Boy, these numbers are getting really small, aren't they? 19 BTC. Okay, 0.0119 BTC. So this is where it helps to kind of do something like this. If you go over here and say, I want to do 0.0119 BTC, and the limit price is 42,000, it's going to tell me, no, you can't do that because that's $502. That's a $250 commission. So what I can do is just back this down to 0.00 or 0.0118, and that's going to fit within the $500. Now, the other thing that you need to do here is under advanced, you want to select good till canceled. If you just do it a day order, it's going to expire after a day and it's not going to be any good. So good till canceled is the way that you can set up one of these time bombs out there. Set it and forget it. If the price never comes down to it, you gave it a shot, and maybe you'll be more aggressive next time. Okay. One more thing here. This will just take a minute. What I want to do is to bring down Ledger X. Ledger X, which is an options broker, which is unfortunately only available to U.S. customers. For those of you outside the U.S., you get to work with Deribit. So what we're going to do here is we'll probably be looking at the April cycle here. What you can do is you can sell put options. This is called a cash secured put. You can sell put options down to the level that you'd be a willing buyer. So let's say, for instance, we want to sell down here in the April cycle. So we're going to be out there for 50 some days, right? And if we want to do the $45,000 put, now what we're committing ourselves to is to buying those number of contracts of BTC at 45,000. This is called physical settlement. So let's see how this works. So again, if the price is up here at, what is it up here? It's 48,000 or something like that. So it's up here at 48K. What if it never pulls back to my order at 42,000? What if I get stonewalled, left at the altar, and the price just pulls back a little bit and then just takes off again? Is there a way that I can make a trade which can win no matter what happens? Well, that's what happens when you sell a put. So in this case, if I sold a put at 45,000, now these are kind of wide, I would negotiate something in the middle, but let's just say we got 5,000. I was able to negotiate in between the bid-ask spread for 5,000. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put up 45,000 against that. Now bear with me for a minute because you can actually work those numbers down from there. If we look at that, we can actually make 5,000 divided by 45,000. Should be able to do this in my head. Can't do it though. That is an 11% return. That's 11% return for absolutely doing nothing over the next 50 days. You do nothing on this trade. Now, you can also play this with a lot less capital. If you want to, you could get a $500 credit and put up 4,500, or you can get a $50 credit by putting up 450. Because this is a one contract trade. If you do a one contract trade, that means you put up $450 and you receive 50. Now, 50 doesn't sound like much, but when you start getting those gains at 11% a piece, over time, they add up in a big way. Okay, so again, the way that this works is you get that credit immediately as you set up the trade. Price is up here at 48,000. If the price goes higher from here into expiration, which is, let's say it's out here, then I do nothing. I let it expire. If the price goes sideways into expiration, I do nothing. I let it expire. Even if the price goes down to 45,002 by expiration, I do nothing. I let it expire. It's only if by the end of April, in this case, April 30th, that the price is below 45,000, I am obligated to buy the number of contracts that I sold at, and I'm going to pay 45,000 relative for those contracts, or 4,500 or 450, depending on how many contracts I sold. So this is called a cash secured put. If you've never looked at options before, this may be confusing. I'm going to use the rule of 7. I'm going to keep coming back to you guys and talking about this again and again and again, because this is how money is made from professional traders, right? This is how it's done, guys. So let's, I'm going to go back here if I can find our Zoom call. Oh, there we go. That's how it's done. So remember the 3 ways during the pullback, if you just want to use a limit order, or learn to sell puts on options. If you need help with that, that's what we're here for. We can show you how to do that stuff. What you got, Mav? Any questions coming in? I really haven't been paying attention.
Yeah, it's we've got a lot of good ones today. Some projects that people are asking about. Let's see, Morpheus Network is a supply chain protocol, and a lot of the things that I've said recently about Origin Trail under the ticker TRAC, I think would also apply to Morpheus Network. I think they've been working hard over the last couple of years. I had the pleasure of speaking to the CEO way back when in 2018, and yeah, what struck me then, and it still is the case today, that I think they are in a very probable, if not, there's a lot of potential when you combine supply chain and blockchain. I think there's just a tremendous amount of opportunity there. That's why we see stuff like VeChain continuing to hold on, and why I think as this market goes through the next cycle and as crypto enters this new era, I'll be continuing to watch for breakout winners in that space. So yeah, Morpheus is definitely one to just keep kind of on the back burner, but keep watching as well. Something else that was asked, if Ethereum could ever overtake Bitcoin. Very interesting question, especially now that Ethereum is 2.0. And I would say more than likely not at this point. I think Bitcoin has become sort of the central arbiter of the crypto space, and Ethereum has become more of an application layer. There's many more reasons or many different ways we can shake this out, but I think Bitcoin's throne is almost guaranteed, not because of what's inside the crypto space, its competitors and potential, coins that could flip it or anything like that. They will never be able to touch Bitcoin, because Bitcoin is backed at this point, almost ironically, by the central banks of the world. The more that they print money, the more valuable that Bitcoin becomes, and that then percolates out to the overall crypto space. But that's the general formula that I operate by. Sorry about the dog, guys. See what else. And there was also a question about central bank digital currencies. Very interesting question, especially about China's lead in this case. And for those that are unaware or don't know what CBDCs are, or CBDC. Yeah, I think I got it right. Whatever. It's basically, the Fed and the ECB and the Chinese central bank and lots of other big economies, central banks around the world, understand that there is efficiency gains to be had when things go digital. I mean, that's what we know pretty implicitly being in the space. But yeah, over the last, I think it was back in 2019, we had about 80% of the major central banks around the world at least starting to investigate, their own versions of digital currencies. But at this point, it's up to 90%, and about 40% of them are actively experimenting. There is, I would say, especially in the case of China, who's pretty much got the lead on this. They've already seen hundreds of billions of yuan in a digital central bank digital currency format be transacted. and they're doing more and more to test it within their existing ecosystem and to slowly start to introduce it into their economy in the same way that they sort of phased out the physical cash and made everything pay by phone, WeChat, Alipay. They're going to do the same thing with central bank digital currencies, the digital yuan, or however you pronounce that, because they're able to better track and control their populace when they're able to have a digital record of every transaction. And, then they can start to attribute that to digital identity, and it gets pretty scary pretty quickly. But this is where we're going to see things go. Is it going to get to that level of control with the Fed, for example, in the US? Probably not in the near future, especially. We just saw the Federal Reserve and the entire central banking remittance system, including ACH, Wire, Fed Cash, all of them are down today, which is hilarious because, Janet Yellen's out there trying to throw Bitcoin and crypto under the bus. And I have to ask her, when was the last time Bitcoin was down? Well, the answer is yesterday, but no, Bitcoin's never operationally it's got a 99.9999% uptime. And I think that's the difference when it comes down to it. Is they want to lambast it with things like, oh, it's inefficient. Oh, it's such a bad thing. It supports all this crime and whatnot. I could levy the same sort of criticisms, if not more so, against the existing financial system and, cash around the world and things like that. At least Bitcoin has a paper trail.
Is anybody actually laundering dollars? Oh, yeah, never mind. Yeah, I guess so.
So, it's, I think we have to pay attention to, government officials, especially in the position that Janet Yellen is in, what they're saying. But at the same time, I wouldn't take it that seriously. I don't find there to be any scenario that is reasonable or practical for them to come in and say, oh, enough is enough. Time to ban those cryptocurrency things. We're going to lock it down. No more Bitcoin for anyone. I don't see that happening. It's just not feasible at this point. The cat's already out of the bag. And quite often, whenever you try to ban something, it just increases the amount of adoption anyways. So, many examples throughout history to back that up. Great question about universal basic income. That's one application we would see for central bank digital currencies. We could easily see the Fed coin introduced, and that's how you get your stimulus payments. That $1,200 check or $2,000 check comes in the form of Fed cash or Fed coin or whatever. And you can only spend it on things within the borders of the US. You can't go on a trip overseas to Europe and spend that money. Like it's, that's not going to stimulate the US economy. That's not going to help inflate the US dollar. No, you have to spend it on groceries or, your rent or something like that. You have to help boost the economy with that stimulus. So that's an example of how that same sort of logic could be applied to a universal basic income, guaranteed or supplied through some sort of digital currency that the Fed is coming in and saying, oh, we're the heroes. We're the ones giving out money to everybody. But by the way, you got to take our very controlled currency on this. And no, you can't spend it like you can cash. It has certain parameters around it. Very possible. Definitely within the next 5 years, I think we'll be seeing starting to the prototypes of this. And then next thing you know, we got Skynet. It's all very clear. If you just look ahead a couple of years, that's where we're going. But all right. Let's see. Yeah, we looked at Spartan Protocol in the video on the Binance chain projects, Moonshot projects. So go check out that video because I talked a little bit about that and it made our list like last week. So yeah, I definitely think that's an interesting one to watch. Anything to deal with tokenization, asset tokenization, synthetic assets, super interesting. Love that area because it has to do with how we take physical objects and turn them into digital and introduce all these very great efficiencies that come with it. Why can't we buy real estate on an open market and, do that all in a digital sense and maybe even bundle together a bunch of houses, and there you go. You got a digital REIT, and great. Now you can trade synthetic derivatives on it and do all these really interesting things. Just can't do that when everything's paper-based and through, lawyers and people who have to sign off on all these forms and stuff. It's ridiculous. So this is where things are going. NFTs are sort of the Trojan horse, if you will, to that eventual reality of things where, private equity, real estate, collectibles, really assets in general become much more tokenized, much more digital. This is definitely the trend we're on right now. And it's going to be really cool to see. So this is why I always talk about this stuff, like tokenization, security tokens, NFTs. They're all kind of in the same family, if you will. So is Frontier all it's hyped up to be? That's a great question. Reasonable. Thank you for not just saying, oh, this is the best one ever. There are a lot of projects out here kind of doing the same things, or at least, they're competing against each other. And one of the strategies I often advise people to employ is just, hey, look at what project's doing and then look at its competitors and maybe take a broad view of the space, maybe take an index of all those projects and, or, look for ones that you think are going to do better than their competitors. So in that case, Frontier is doing some interesting things, but there are a lot of projects right now trying to work on making DeFi more accessible, smashing together all the DeFi services into one place, making it as easy as, using a smartphone and using apps and stuff like that. That's a potential of stuff like Frontier. So is it all it's hyped up to be? I don't know about that. But at the same time, I think it does have a lot of potential, and definitely these sort of UX aggregators as it relates to DeFi. Awesome. That's a great opportunity. I think anything that makes DeFi more accessible, easier to use for more people, or when we just talk about crypto in general, anything that's doing that and is getting actual traction in that regard, super. I love seeing that stuff. I think that's exactly where we should be paying attention to in 2021. That's the opportunity right now. So great question. Would you buy Cardano at its price right now?
There's a volume profile node right at 91 cents. So it's not a bad level. As I'm looking at this, it's not a bad level to buy at this point, because the three tools that we just talked about, volume profile is one of them. And there's an awful lot of support right around 90 cents or so. Yeah. Yeah. And the fundamentals are there too. It's, we're seeing a transition to, it's not just Ethereum's game anymore. We're actually seeing real competition in Cardano, in Polkadot, in Binance Smart Chain, and some of the other ones that you guys have been talking about, like Neo. These are all platforms that people are building off of and, sort of deploying the next era of crypto. So is it worth an investment? I would say yes. If you're looking for stability, if you're looking for what is, low on the totem pole of value in terms of, I don't expect those sorts of projects to be that volatile over time. I think they provide value, and they're definitely, so long as they continue to be an ideal choice for developers to build upon, and for projects that can attract capital and, the sort of marketing dollars that they need to stand out. Awesome. And Cardano has definitely worked really hard on making their technology, that much better than some of the other offerings that we have out there. So there's a lot more I could say about Cardano and some of the other smart contract platforms out there. But at the end of the day, I think it's this is representative of where we're going right now, or where things are, is that we're building into the future these sort of dApps and DeFi protocols and different ways you can shake out the market. That's where, 12 months from now, there's going to be like really big projects. There was a question about PancakeSwap. That could be, it's around the number 50 right now. I could easily see that one starting to rival or, be around the same range as Uniswap, because it's helping people to find some of those new projects that are promising, and it's got a great interface to do so. So very exciting, very fun to
work with PancakeSwap and projects like that. So there was a question about where to find or what is the best crypto gems right now. Rewind the video to the first part where I was talking about the spreadsheet. Go review that. I think there's definitely lots of opportunity out there right now. So it's not definitive. There's many more projects that have promise or are breaking out. It's hard to stay on top of it all, but that should give you 11 good ideas as to some projects you should watch. Let's take a couple more questions here, and then we'll probably wrap things up at the top of the hour. Let's see. Numenair was one of those ones that I looked into and sort of talked about back in 2018. Interesting project. Has it done much since 2018? I'm not sure. I haven't heard of it doing much. So hopefully it is. But yeah, I'll definitely give that one a look. Yeah, it was definitely very different. I remember that. Definitely agree on Matic. Yeah, that is definitely one to watch. I talked about that one 3 weeks ago during our stream on here. They're rebranding to Polygon. They're basically trying to bring the sort of ideals. They're trying to be Polkadot on Ethereum. They're trying to be interoperability, which is sort of the defining feature of Polkadot. They're trying to bring that to the Ethereum ecosystem to make things much easier to deploy cross-chain for data and transactions to, just kind of flow regardless of what blockchain they're coming from and what, code they're using and stuff like that. It's just trying to make it a universal adapter, at least for Ethereum. So very cool, very, very cool project. One of my favorite ones I'm looking at right now. So Polygon, Matic Network, same thing. Definitely watch that one. Oh, question about favorite books. Doc, maybe you should take this one.
There's no way I could finish here in 2 minutes. So I've got, right behind me here, I probably have 500 books, most of which are about trading. And what I found is that it's not about trading. I originally started reading books about trading and finding different techniques, but what it really comes down to, and this is not about trading per se, but this is about success in life, is about understanding how to use your mind and about how to imagine what it is that you're after and see your future, not like a line from Caddyshack, but it's, you really have to design the future that you want. And that is to do with neurolinguistic programming. So there's a huge topic. I go on for hours about this stuff, but lots of great books out there. Reach me out offline, just through email or in our forums, our Discord, and I'll be happy to talk to you about that.
Question about Hex. I still would not touch this one with a 30-foot pole. I understand that people have made a lot of money with it. I understand that, the guy behind it is very, enthusiastic and fun to listen to. Not for me. That one is, I think, kind of exemplary of like greater fool theory. And I don't know. I don't trust the fundamentals of that one. So I usually recommend people stay away from it. That being said, if you've got money, you don't care to lose, do what you want. But as far as I'm concerned, that's not one I want to support. So let's see what else. Big dip with the big whales is controlling the crypto market. Yeah, well, yesterday was a dip caused by the larger markets, the stock market overall, and it had to do with bond yields, and it had to do with Fed Chairman Jerome Powell's comments or speculation of what he was going to say, and it has to do with inflation rates, and it has to do with these big macro forces that we're just kind of unfortunately always going to be we're always going to be hit by those kind of things, regardless of how good things are in the space or not. It's the bigger market, and it's going to control the narrative, at least in the short term. And we saw the same thing happen a year ago when the whole market started to sell off, and that was sort of exacerbated. That fear was, expanded in the crypto market. So yeah, we just have to be aware of that, and that's just the reality of being an interconnected market, especially one that is trading 24/7. And
yeah, people have to realize that when margin calls are hitting, when there's redemptions that are out there, everything gets tossed in for cash. You liquidate things without regard to what they are in the search of cash. So this is what's happening to institutions, hedge funds, things like that. Probably not retail traders, but that's just the nature of the beast, is that we are connected with a much larger market. And we want that. We want that. And this is what I've been saying for the last 3 years, is we do want that type of volume in there, because it narrows the spreads, provides much more liquid markets, and allows us easier trading for that in and out of assets. All right, guys, we need to wrap up here because we got yelled at last time for going too long. Not going to do that this time. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us here today. We'll be back at the next week. Same bat channel, same bat time. Thanks everybody.
We'll crash the market that time. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll crash the market. You guys take care. See you around.
Have a good one. Cheers.